March 31st, 1984, professional wrestling.
Sale now at your local newsstand. 68 glossy pages bursting with color and excitement. Come catch the one thing more contagious than the common cold, Hulkamania. Sergeant Slaughter declares war on the Iron Sheik. The rowdiest of them all, Roddy Piper. Von Erich's most dominant family in professional wrestling. The bitter anti-American hatred of the Iron Sheik. Wrestler of the Year, Superfly Jimmy Snuka. Latin Lightning strikes in Boston. Bob Backlund on the comeback trail. These features and more in the official World Wrestling Federation magazine, on sale now at your local newsstand. Viewer participation suggested for the following World Wrestling Federation events.
Now, ladies and gentlemen, this is Championship Wrestling. My name is Gilbert, your ring announcer. On the opening contest, scheduled for one fall with a 15-minute time limit, it is a tag team match. Introducing in the corner to my right, from Brooklyn, New York, weighing 235 pounds, here is Steve Lombardi. And his partner from Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, weighing 240 pounds, S.T. Special Delivery Jones. And their opponent from the Isle of Samoa, at a combined weight of 598 pounds, here are the Wild Samoans.
Oh my goodness, look at that face. The face of Alpha and Sika, former three-time co-holders of the World Wrestling Federation Tag Team title. As we take a look at this capacity crowd here on hand this week, certainly anticipating lots of action. I don't think they'll be disappointed.
It's going to be Saturday night, April the 28th, when the World Wrestling Federation returns once again to the Olympic Auditorium in Los Angeles. What a contest Tito Santana and Mr. Wonderful Paul Orndorff had last Saturday night, and it goes without saying that the return bout had to be signed, was signed, and will take place on the 28th of April. Intercontinental title, Tito Santana, Mr. Wonderful Paul Orndorff at the Olympic.
And Sika, probably the roughest tag team combination in existence today. Almost impervious to pain. Off the rope, shoulder blocked by Pagapa. Off the rope again over S.D. Jones. Right back at him. S.D. rolling into his bed. Right back, and S.D. stops him right there. S.D. with a make-a-wish. Referee Dick Bunny warning. S.D. Jones tag. Now Steve Lombardi. Pride and joy of Brooklyn in the action. Double leg drop. A big Samoa number one. Oh, missed it by a mile. Nobody home. Oh, yeah, how about that? Alpha missing the headbutt, but did not affect Alpha. He could run into a brick wall, and I don't believe it would affect Alpha or Sika. Southpaw. Alpha with some kind of a shot to Lombardi's chin. Look at this. Oh! Sika and Alpha with a double kick. Those kind of tactics, they're certainly not going to endear themselves to the fans at ringside this week. Big body slam. Devastating. Sika with a forearm. Now that's on the throat of the referee. Calling for the break. Sika taking his time. Good one. That rocks. Steve Lombardi. Tag. Sika. Alpha. Another headbutt. Oh. That's got to be extended number 5 for Mr. Lombardi. Gonna have a headache walking away from this one. Alpha and Sika, not known for their verbal skills, but certainly known for their brawling technique. Perhaps no other tag team combination can brawl like the Samoans off the rope. Now what a headbutt that was. And I respect Vince McMahon. I think they're two of the toughest. Wait a minute. Almost the count of 3 there. Sika could have had the cover. Could have had the pin, as you were saying, Sheik.
The brawling technique of the wild Samoan second to none anywhere in professional wrestling today, to my knowledge. Oh, double headbutt.
As if one headbutt wasn't enough.
They could have pinned Lombardi earlier.
Some time ago.
Ireland carry.
And Alpha with a Samoan drop. That should spell defeat and does in fact. Alpha.
Look at that. Look at that. What is he saying, man?
What is he saying? What's he saying?
I don't read it.
No, I wouldn't think you would. Let's get the official time.
Here is the time, 3 minutes and 34 seconds, and the winners, the Wild Samoan.
Alpha and Sika get the Duke. Gene, let's go back and take a look at what we saw moments ago.
All right, Vicky, quick work. Here's the fireman's carry on the part of Alpha. Takes Steve Lombardi back with the Samoan back body splash. 1, 2, 3. And a pin for the former tag team champions of the world, the Wild Samoans, victorious this week right here on Championship Wrestling.
Let's go back up now, ladies and gentlemen, for our next matchup.
Ladies and gentlemen, the next contest, scheduled for one fall with a 10-minute time limit, introducing from Puerto Rico, weighed in at 220 pounds, here is Angelo Gomez. And his opponent from Tampa, Florida, weighing in at 262 pounds, here is Mr. Wonderful, Paul Orndorff.
Just how wonderful is Paul Orndorff? Well, if you ever have a moment to ask him, he'll certainly reply. It'll take him a while, though, because he has a high opinion of himself, as well as you might think he would.
He'll tell you how to build a watch.
Here we go in action. Paul Orndorff and Angelo Gomez. Ooh, tremendous takedown.
We'd like to tell you that the official World Wrestling Federation magazine is now available for your purchase. It's a tremendous publication. The incredible Hulk Hogan on the cover. And if you'd like to subscribe and become a subscriber of this great magazine, 8 issues can be yours for only $14.47 by sending check or money order to WWF Magazine. Post Office Box 1538, Greenwich, Connecticut, 06836.
Orndorff on Gomez. All over him. Mr. Orndorff knows all the tricks of the trade. Great amateur wrestler, without a doubt. One of the great pros, and he will take exception to the chant that's building here before this capacity crowd as they yell, "Pull up." You can see Mr. Orndorff riding and otherwise wearing down Angelo Gomez. Gomez underneath the rope now. They asked for a clean break, did not get one. Forearm a moment ago. Orndorff rocks back. Tremendous physique of Mr. Wonderful. And boy, does he ever like to display his physique and what it can do in the ring, Gene.
Man who has a very, very high regard for himself. Not overly modest.
Is he modest at all? What he doesn't do to extol his own virtues, Roddy Piper, his manager, will certainly do.
Gomez in the mold of some of the great Puerto Rican wrestlers. Good upper body. But Gomez, absolutely no threat thus far to Mr. Wonderful.
Oh! Forget about that clothesline. Almost a decapitation before our eyes. Paul Orndorff with tremendous velocity with a clothesline on Angelo Gomez on the account of one is now. Orndorff has Gomez over there. Sets him up now for the pile driver. Runs him down to the canvas. Covers Gomez. I'm sure the referee can count to 300.
When are they going to bar it? When are they going to throw it out? Look at the expression on his face.
Orndorff with his hand on the side of the head of Angelo Gomez, just resting now. Finally. And no doubt, there's a look at the physique of self-professed Mr. Wonderful.
Here is the time. 2 minutes and 49 seconds on the winner, Mr. Wonderful, Paul Orndorff.
Mr. Wonderful, Paul Orndorff gets it. Let's go back now. Take a look at what we saw just moments ago as Paul Orndorff sets up Angelo Gomez. You can see the gesturing on the part of Roddy Piper on the outside. And when Paul Orndorff delivers the pile driver, well, it is going to be all over. That much is for sure.
And now, ladies and gentlemen, let's go for the World Wrestling Federation's update.
This week, our update concerns an American cult hero. Move over, Dwight David Eisenhower. General Patton couldn't hold a candle to this man's extraordinary oratory. Indeed, we are in reference to one Sergeant Slaughter, front and center. And Sergeant Slaughter can bring out patriotism perhaps like no other American today. Let's take you to videotape. Sergeant Slaughter, after a match, had a few words with the capacity crowd at the arena.
One nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Sergeant Slaughter, the one and the only. Sergeant Slaughter, and this capacity crowd, let's it come. There will be many individuals waiting to step into the ring with Sergeant Slaughter to test his extraordinary wrestling skills. And indeed, the one individual perhaps looking forward to it than any other, the Iron Sheik. Their feud, well documented in the World Wrestling Federation magazine. This is going to be a match that we will all long remember. The Sheik versus Sergeant Slaughter. Hi, Frank.
Now, ladies and gentlemen, here is a special added attraction presenting two great amateur wrestlers. Ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to introduce from the St. Augustine Wrestling Club, Hartford, Connecticut, weighing 67 pounds, Paul Violet. And in the red suit from the Mustang Wrestling Club, Glastonbury, Connecticut, weighing 70 pounds, here is Ken Batten. Ladies and gentlemen, let's greet these boys with a nice big round of applause. Let's do it. And ladies and gentlemen, the man responsible for encouraging and training these fine young athletes is the former World Wrestling Federation heavyweight champion, Bob Backlund.
Bob Backlund stepping into the ring and shaking hands with Dr. Ed Myers, who is going to be officiating this.
By the way, that's for good luck, Vince.
Yes. Yes, indeed. Bob Backlund, this is one of his proudest moments, I'm sure. These two youngsters, as Mr. Backlund steps back, we'll see some amateur wrestling here. Mr. Backlund supporting the Bob Backlund's Kids League.
Referee is Ed Myers. Sound of the whistle.
Tip double leg take. Nice maneuver there. Very nicely done. Nice takedown by Paul Violet. Staying behind him and trying to reverse. And yes, indeed, give that man some points. Nice maneuver on the part of Kinstead. Nip and tuck here all the way. Trying for an escape. Can he make it? Oh, no. Doesn't make the escape.
I'm very impressed. These kids quite evenly matched. Paul Violet in the blue tights from Hartford, Connecticut, representing the St. Augustine Wrestling Club. Ken Stanton, red suit. There's the whistle on the part of the referee. Timeout. Now, of course, amateur rules prevailing to some extent in this particular match, Vince.
Well, I think what's happened here, I think that, well, let's see, all right, down in referee's position now. And riding is going to be Paul Violet. All right, here we go. And, apples.
Well, I'll tell you.
Shoots I have. Let's see what happens. Trying to get my shooting down. Stay behind now, Paul Violet.
And his crowd responds accordingly.
And you can bet that the champ, Bob Backlund, certainly enjoying this matchup. This is the way Mr. Backlund began his wrestling career. Former World Wrestling Federation title holder, Mr. Backlund, who began his wrestling career at age 10.
And by the way, I should point out, Vince, that I saw him compete at both the high school and the collegiate levels, as well, of course, as professionally. One of the all-time greats.
Some conjecture as to whether or not Mr. Backlund, as he is looking on, is back at full steam. As many of you know, he sustained tremendous damage and injuries. And actually, entering the ring, he was injured quite a bit on that night in Madison Square Garden. I'm sure he will never forget when he lost the title to the Iron Sheik.
Offensive right now by Ken Stanton, Mustang Wrestling Club, Glastonbury, Connecticut, at 70 pounds. Whistle again.
This is not the pros, boys. It's just amateurs. All right.
Well, tempers will flare. There's a shot of Bob Backlund watching on. These kids are his personal project.
Well, like so many kids all over the country, and it's a rare occasion these days when athletes will give of their time and their money as well to support the youngsters of America, and there's no doubt Mr. Bob Backlund gives plenty in both counts.
Another whistle.
Well, I think that'll do it. No? These fellows are in great shape. 70 pounds.
They are. And I'll tell you just how tough it is. Any adults out there trying to do something like this, it'll really take you. Very well done. I'm going to see if I can grab an interview, Vince.
All right.
Ladies and gentlemen, the referee has declared the bout a draw. It's 4-4. Now, ladies and gentlemen, for Paul Violet, Ken Stanton, and Dr. Ed Myers, let's give them a nice big hand. Show me appreciation.
Yes, indeed. The youth of America. A good look at the youth of America with Paul Violet and Ken Stanton, two young men. And participating in the Bob Backlund's Kids League in amateur wrestling. Here's the champ out there. Let's go now, ladies and gentlemen, to Mr. Gene Okerlund and company.
All right. Thank you very much, Vince McMahon. I have with me at this time former World Wrestling Federation champion and a popular one, Bob Backlund. You've got to be mighty proud, Bob, of these two young men.
Oh, I sure am, and I want to thank them both for coming down here. It took a lot of courage on their part, and I had 2 plaques made up for these young men, and Paul, here's one for you, and Kenny, here's one for you. I really appreciate it, and I know the WWF does. We try to support these young people as much as we can, and it works both ways, too. They support me, and I support them. And I got a couple of pair of trunks for them, too, to work out in.
All right, guys, you got to be happy about that. Trunks from the man that many still consider the world's heavyweight champ, Bob Backlund. How about it for them? Terrific. Job well done, guys. Bob Backlund, I am going to corner you right now. There is a lot of speculation on Bob Backlund.
Can't corner me between my people here. Let me get it.
A lot of speculation, Bob Backlund, as to whether or not you are 100%. We know you had a very serious injury that has sidelined you for some time.
Well, You know, a lot of people think I was down, and I got to admit I was down. But, you know, when I was down, I found out how many friends I really had. I found out how many people were really behind me, and that really meant a lot. And I want to thank y'all for all those letters, all that support. And every time I thought I was maybe finished, I went back and read a little letter, and you people said, in our hearts, you're still the champion. And I really appreciate that. I'm ready. We're going to be together for a long, long time. I'm not letting anybody down. And just to prove that I'm at 100%, I'm going to be wrestling right here next week.
You've got to be kidding me. Oh, what a bombshell. Bob Backlund, what you're saying, in essence, that you are 100%?
I'm ready to go. I got a lot to prove. My motto is to be a champion within yourself, and I know this is the motto that these two young boys here live by, and they're going to go to college with that motto, and they're going to live in their life with that motto, and I'm not going to let them down in my life in the ring and my life outside of the ring. I'm going to be the best example for these young people that I could possibly be.
All right, you heard it right here. This week, Bob Backlund will be returning to action on this very television program. Next week, it's good to have you back. Fellas, tremendous effort tonight. Referee Admire, we thank you. And back to Vince McMahon.
All righty, Bob Backlund, and we certainly thank Mr. Paul Violet and Kenny Stratton as well. We'll be back, ladies and gentlemen, as we continue with more World Wrestling Federation action. Andre the Giant, the guest in Piper's Pet.
Get ready, Los Angeles Olympic Auditorium here in town. Saturday night, April the 28th, the World Wrestling Federation at its very best. Snuka, Murdoch, Adonis, Stud, Patterson, all of these great names. In addition, Mil Mascaris to do battle with Tiger Chung Lee, Sergeant Slaughter to meet the Iron Sheik, and in a return match for the Intercontinental title, the great one, Tito Santana, will be, of course, defending that title against my guest at this time, Mr. Wonderful Paul Orndorff. Tremendous controversy in your last outing here in Los Angeles with Santana.
Let me tell you something. You know, it's one thing that I have to step in that ring with Santana and wrestle him. But it's another thing when he gets all his referees and sees it's a conspiracy against Mr. Wonderful. I had him beat right in the middle of the ring. He deliberately took the referee and threw him out and had contact with the referee. And I get disqualified. It's a bunch of garbage. Santana, I want you to know this right now, buddy. You and everybody else out there knows who won that match. I should be the international champion. It's as simple as that.
All right, I thank you very much.
And I will be that champion, Santana. I left you laying last time when I power drove you. Thank God that your friends came out and helped you, because you were down, brother. You was out right in front of all your friends.
Time will tell the story, Mr. Wonderful Paul Orndorff, in a return bout with Tito Santana for the Intercontinental title. Representing the United States Marine Corps, a tremendously patriotic individual. I am talking about Sergeant Slaughter, one-on-one against the Iron Sheik, and there is tremendous animosity existing between the two of you.
Well, it's finally coming down to Los Angeles. The Iron Sheik, I finally have you right in that Coliseum where I want you. All the years of professional wrestling taking place in that building. You can hear it in the locker room. The ghosts. The guys are coming around. The old-timers show up in the locker room. Good luck, Sergeant Slaughter, against that Iron Sheik. We know one of these days, because we've been in the wrestling profession. We know that one of these days, if he wants to stay a wrestler, he's got to get in that ring with you. Well, Iron Sheik, they were right. And all the fans were right every time I left that building. They said, when are you going to get the Iron Sheik? We know it's got to be soon, and it's going to be real soon. Your days are numbered.
All right. A very proud American, Sergeant Slaughter, one-on-one against the Iron Sheik. On that subject, I want to bring in Ayatollah Fred Blassie, along with Tiger Chung Lee. Yes, sir, Mr. Blassie.
I've got Tiger Chung Lee going up against that wetback Mil Mascaris, and I guarantee you, this time we're going to unmask that pencil neck geek. And that pencil neck geek that just left, he's just talking about the hallowed houses of the Olympic Auditorium. Well, I know every brick, every stone, every screw in that building. And here's the man we're all talking about. The Iron Sheik. You're talking about Olympic Auditorium, Los Angeles. Look at all the medals. I didn't buy it, soldier. I bought the red Olympic 60 at Mexico City. Now, in the Los Angeles, I'm already getting excited. I'm on the top 30. Bring me down. Los Angeles, California. I promise all the Iranian people, all the Arab people, all the red American, Los Angeles Olympic Auditorium. I'm already excited. Soldier, I lost something to Hulk Hogan. I'm going to take it from you. خدمت همه شنوندگان ایرانی عزیز که در لس آنجلس زندگی میکنن سلام عرض میکنم. مخصوصا مرتضای تکیه بلندرابی، مرتضای تکیه، سلیمان خاقانی، نوکر همه شما هستم. ایران، the Iron Sheik، آیت الله بلاسی، همه دنیا پهلوانای ایران میشناسه. Soldier, Los Angeles, Olympic Auditorium. I bring you down and I'm gonna kick you just like I kicked the lazy camel.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, I'll tell you, it is already working up to a fever pitch for the big one. Coming here to Los Angeles in this Olympic year to the Olympic Auditorium on Saturday night, April the 28th. Remember, Tito Santana return bout with Paul Orndorff for the Intercontinental title. Slaughter to meet the Iron Sheik. Mascaris to go against Chung Lee here at the Olympic Auditorium on April the 28th.
Ladies and gentlemen, the next contest, it is a tag team match. Scheduled for one fall with a 15-minute time limit. Introducing in the corner to my right, from Marion, Ohio, weighing in at 245 pounds, here is Charlie Fulton. And his partner, he hails from Italy, weighing in at 241 pounds, here is Tony Russo. And their opponents in the corner to my left at a combined weight of 460 pounds from Puerto Rico, here are the Invaders.
The Invaders. A nice round of applause here from this jam-packed arena. The Invaders set to take on Tony Russo and his tag team partner, Charlie Fulton. Here we go.
From the halls of Montezuma to the shores of Los Angeles, California, marching down the aisle on April 28th at the Olympic Auditorium will be Sergeant Slaughter. The man he wants in the worst way will definitely be his opponent that night, the Iron Sheik from Iran. This Slaughter Sheik confrontation, the most requested in professional wrestling, will take place at the Olympic Auditorium on April 28th.
Fancy footwork on the part of both these gentlemen. A lot of movement in the ring, as there always is when the Invaders are in there.
All right, tag. For the other best, Invader. Snap Bear, Russo goes for the tag. Charlie Fulton now to enter the ring and do battle. Capacity crowd and Fulton first with the lead in the midsection. Then a right to the side of the head off the ropes and the shoulder. Takes down a masked Invader down on the mat. Fulton up and over. Oh, what a sensational move. Up in the air. Charlie Fulton having a second thought or two. The action, fast and furious, and what a crowd on hand this week. They're back in arenas all over the country to watch the tremendous stars for the World Wrestling Federation.
In the ring now again. Tony Russo with Invader number 1 in his clutches. Invader 1 whipped to the buckle. Invader 1 with a kick a moment ago. A snapmare has Russo over. Russo, somewhat of a bowling ball type physique, tags out Charlie Fulton. Taken down again by Invader number 1.
Oh, reverse knife edge. Fulton trying to counter. Not being able to What's it? He all that dominant. I don't know if I totally understand
What is going? Oh, my goodness.
I've seen it all.
The referee allows that maneuver on the part of the invaders, a bending of the rules, to say the least. The invaders get to do it.
Something else off that top rope, and a somersault as they went through the air.
Here is the time. 2 minutes and 16 seconds on the winners, the Invaders.
The Invaders victorious. Before we take you now, ladies and gentlemen, the Piper's Pit, we'd like to flatly state that the views of Mr. Piper are those of Mr. Piper alone. Not necessarily those of us here on Championship Wrestling or this station, or for that matter, his guests. With that in mind, ladies and gentlemen, we anxiously await now. Okay, here we go. Let's take you to Piper's Pit.
I'm not that well acquainted with you. First of all, Andre, here we have this week on Piper's Pit, of course, Andre the Giant, supposedly the biggest man in the world ever. It's a pleasure to have you. Where are you from, Andre? I'm sorry, do you speak English? Andre, where do you come from?
None of your business.
If the questions are too hard for you, I will try to bring them down a little so you can understand. I understand big body, little tiny weeny brain. I can understand that. That's very simple. Let's get right down to facts. Is it not true that John Studd himself took the largest man like yourself supposedly in the world and picked him up and slammed him? Is it not true that John Studd slammed you?
Never.
Are you telling me that John Studd never slammed you? You trying to tell me at 540 pounds, whatever you are, that you cannot be slammed?
Are you listening English or no? I told you that one time.
At 520 pounds, if I'd given 5 minutes, I could slam you myself. I don't care. You're saying John Studd at 520. I'll tell you one thing right now. You want to fight Andre? You're going to find out one thing. You do not throw rocks at a man who's got a machine gun.
Piper, Roddy Piper, and the Piper's Pit, always controversial, always exciting, and certainly this week was no exception.
Well, I can't help but believe he started to mess with the mind of the wrong man in Andre the Giant.
Tell you something else, though. Piper was rare to go.
He was. That surprised me somewhat.
Man's got some guts. I'm not too sure about the brains, but he's got some guts. It looked to me like he was ready for Andre. Let's go up to the ring.
Ladies and gentlemen, the next contest, scheduled for one fall with a 10-minute time limit. Introducing in the corner to my right from Auckland, New Zealand, weighing in at 240 pounds. Here is Tony Garea. And his opponent from Seattle, Washington, weighing 250 pounds. Here is Greg the Hammer Valentine.
Greg Valentine to square off against Tony Garea. This is really going to be a hot one, this matchup.
We've got a jam-packed arena this week. For this feature match, I've been looking forward to it. The moment they announced it, it should be a great one.
All right, after Lou Albano vacates the premises, we shall be ready for action.
The sensational Mil Mascaras from Mexico City, Mexico, returning to the Olympic Auditorium on April 28th. Providing the opposition for Mr. Mascaras will be Korean Tiger Chung Lee. Of course, Mil Mascaras has had some of his better moments in professional wrestling at the Olympic Auditorium, and he'd like to gain another victory at that fabled institution. Tiger Chung-Lee, however, hopes to spoil Masters' return on April 28th at the Olympic Auditorium.
Tony Garea locking up with a hammer again. Greg Valentine side headlock now as Garea tries to set him up off the rope. Shoulder blocked by Valentine. To the rope again. Nice maneuver by Tony Garea. Rolls him right up. Nicely done. Valentine makes his way to the apron. Better watch out there, Mr. Garea. Tony Garea.
Tremendously scientific wrestler. Tony's got a lot of things going for him.
Valentine, Lou Albano, talking about the outside the ring. Valentine listening to the count. Right back in now.
Squared away.
Oh, wow.
Big elbow.
Another one.
And again, Valentine. Blind mare takedown.
Drops the elbow, does Greg Valentine. It's Valentine now with Garea as momentum. Up there on his feet. Garea hanging onto the ropes. Trying to make his way back in. Forearm greeting Mr. Garea. Nice shoulder block. Backs up Valentine. Over the hip. It's Valentine. Almost.
Oh, is that close? Was that close?
Knee lift by Valentine. Garea behind Valentine. To the rope. Tries to hook him. No. Valentine on the receiving end of a drop kick. Backed away somewhat. Tony moving right in now. Garea with the Valentine's going nowhere. Well, now he does. Nice reversal by Valentine. Tony Garea. No. Oh, he missed. Missing with a flying body press. And he landed quite awkwardly, just like that. Just like that. Greg Valentine gets the deuce. Greg Valentine. Victorious after a mishap from Tony Garea. And that match really turned around quickly. Greg Valentine gets the deuce. Showing us matchup in progress as Frank Ruiz backs off from Big Butcher Paul Vachon. And Vachon, no doubt, will attempt to assert himself as he does on almost every occasion.
Among some of the other greats that have been signed to appear on the World Wrestling Federation Spectacular at the Olympic Auditorium on the 28th of April include Big John Studd. In addition to Superfly Jimmy Snuka and Mr. Pat Patterson. Not to forget the contest between the Masked Superstar and Salvatore Bellomo. It comes at the Olympic Auditorium, the next World Wrestling Federation event of Saturday night, April 28th.
Vachon with a kick to the face.
It's correspondence coming in from Don Doherty, Palestine, Illinois, suburban Chicago. Dear Vincent Gene, many of us here in Illinois marvel at the sight of Tony Mr. USA Atlas's physique. Do either of you happen to know how many years of training it took for Tony to reach his build? He sure is a physical specimen from Don Doherty, Palestine, Illinois. Vince, you know the answer to that one.
Well, I think Atlas has spent just the better part of his entire life in the gymnasium.
Absolutely, a lifetime. It starts from day one.
And on the mat as well. Atlas with no doubt God-given gifts as well as the ones that he has to work the hardest for.
Frank Ruiz.
Look at this. Vachon pulls over Ruiz with a yank of the hair. Ooh, kick to the face.
Vachon, tremendously brutal tactics. That's being demonstrated quite clearly on Mr. Ruiz from Chicago, Illinois.
Vachon, however, reversed, and Ruiz runs into the foot of Vachon. Vachon, oh no!
Nearly 300 pounds to the midsection. The hook and a 3-count victory for Paul the Butcher Vachon.
Boy, I'll say, Vachon wiping his hands as if he has laid them on so much garbage. The Butcher peering back. Let's get the official time.
Here's the time, 3 minutes and 4 seconds on the winner. Butcher, Paul Vachon.
Very impressive victory for Paul Vachon.
Mr. Vachon, using his decided weight advantage there as he literally jumped into the midsection of his opponent, Frank Ruiz.
Great crowd on hand.
You bet.
And here it is. The move that did in Mr. Ruiz.
For the benefit of those who'd like to drop us a line, as the young man from suburban Chicago, Illinois did earlier on, we certainly invite you to do so. We invite you to write us here to World Wrestling Federation headquarters, P.O. Box 1538, Greenwich, Connecticut, 06836. We'll be back as we continue with more World Wrestling Federation action.
Ladies and gentlemen, the next contest, scheduled for one fall with a 10-minute time limit. Introducing in the corner to my right from Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, weighing in at 260 pounds, it is Ron Shaw. And his opponent from Italy, weighing 230 pounds, it is Salvatore Bellomo.
Salvatore Bellomo. A lot of fans about ringside supporting Mr. Bellomo as he sets his sights now on Big Ron Shaw. We're set for the action to commence.
As we always tell you great wrestling fans here in Los Angeles, advance tickets for the Olympic Auditorium Match Spectaculars are on sale at the box office, in addition to all Ticketmaster locations. The date will be Saturday, April 28th. And, of course, two big bouts that the entire wrestling world will be watching: the Iron Sheik, one-on-one with Sergeant Slaughter, and the return bout for the Intercontinental title at the Olympic on the 28th of April, Mr. Wonderful Paul Orndorff, Tito Santana.
Nice standing drop kick on a part of Salvatore Bellomo minutes ago.
Followed up with a couple of arm drag takedowns. Flying Bear. Bringing Mr. Shaw back into the ring. Hip lock takedown. Salvatore Bellomo. Side headlock.
Not for long as we see the head scissor applied by Ron Shaw and a kick out by Bellomo. Both men right back to their feet. Bellomo, perhaps, a prime example this capacity crowd looks on of what leverage can do for you in professional wrestling. Bellomo obviously not gifted with the extraordinary physiques of the Mr. Wonderful Paul Orndorffs or the Superfly Jimmy Snukas, but Bellomo takes more than his share of victory home. And one of the reasons, the use of the scientific skill, is suplex there.
Well, that's just what you were talking about. Right there, Bellomo using the leverage to his advantage, getting the takedown. And a 2 count had not Mr. Shaw got his leg up on a rope. Perhaps a pinfall.
Well, Ron Shaw using his rather sizable long legs to his advantage moments ago.
Boy, those are a couple of real good-sized upper thighs. On the native of Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, Ron Shaw, 262.
Over goes Bellomo. Now Shaw asserting himself. Ooh, drops the elbow, appeared in the forehead area. Referee out of position. It appears though it was not going to matter in any event. Shaw did not hook the ankle, however. We've seen this before. Stretching. Oh, and stretching some more. Bellomo with Ron Shaw in a rather compromising position.
That particular move certainly has the potential to tear off a groin muscle or two.
For sure.
Shaw in a great deal of pain.
Ron Shaw back to his feet now. Salvatore Bellomo whipped to the rope. Shaw greets him with an elbow to the sternum area.
And that one rocks Bellomo.
Ron Shaw building up some momentum, missing with that elbow. Off the rope now, Bellomo. Oh, Ron Shaw. Right back, head-on collision. Flying body press. Bellomo grabs the leg, hangs on for dear life, and gets the victory.
1, 2, 3, and a very jubilant Salvatore Bellomo with victory here this week, and these fans love it. Salvatore Bellomo, number 1. Just some of the graffiti.
Here is the time, 3 minutes and 2 seconds. Here is the winner, Salvatore Bellomo.
A very humble young man who has journeyed to this country to share in the American dream, and he has done so thus far in the World Wrestling Federation.
As we take a look at our feature encounter next week, ladies and gentlemen, Bob Backlund, former World Wrestling Federation champion, to square off against Tiger Chung Lee. What a matchup. That'll be, no doubt. If anyone's going to test the skills of Mr. Backlund, we definitely will find out if Mr. Backlund is back at 100% as he claims he is. And next week as well, on Championship Wrestling, to join us, one of the toughest men who ever stepped through the ropes, Dr. D. David Schultz. In Piper's Pit, the Iron Sheik, Tony Atlas, Rocky Johnson, Sergeant Slaughter, and more.
During the
That's 3 minutes down the court, carried out in the last quarter. Virginia's trying to take the ball out of Keene.
All he said he was going to do that. I'm going to go right at Keene and get him out of there, and that was the attempt. That time failed.
Now, Guy Lewis puts Franklin out the top